The morning sun cast long shadows across the military training compound as Sergeant Maria Santos approached the kennel area. Her boots crunched against the gravel path while instructors gathered near the command tent, their voices carrying concerns about the day's mission simulation. Today would mark her final evaluation before deployment, and everyone knew the stakes. Maria had spent 18 months training to become a military working dog handler. The program pushed candidates beyond their limits, testing not just their ability to work with animals, but their capacity to make split-second decisions under extreme pressure. Of the 32 recruits who started the program, only 8 remained. The instructors had seen promising handlers fail at this crucial stage, their dreams of serving alongside four-legged partners crushed by one poor performance. The kennel supervisor, Master Sergeant Williams, stood with his clipboard, reviewing the day's assignments. His weathered face showed no emotion as he watched Maria approach. Williams had trained hundreds of handlers over his 20-year career, and he possessed an uncanny ability to predict which partnerships would succeed in combat zones. His reputation for tough evaluation standards made him both respected and feared among trainees. "Santos, you're working with Rex today," Williams announced without looking up from his paperwork. "The evaluation starts in 30 minutes. Your mission is to clear a simulated compound with multiple rooms and identify explosive devices. The scenario includes civilian actors and hostile targets." Maria nodded, her stomach tightening with nervous energy. She had heard about Rex from other trainees who had worked with him during previous exercises. The German Shepherd mix had arrived at the facility 6 months earlier after his previous handler was injured in Afghanistan. Since then, Rex had shown remarkable detection abilities but struggled with trust issues that made him difficult to work with. The other instructors exchanged glances as Maria headed toward Rex's kennel. Sergeant First Class Johnson, the lead dog trainer, shook his head slightly. "She's got skills, but Rex hasn't bonded with anyone since Martinez left," he muttered to Williams. "That dog's been through hell over there. He doesn't trust easily." "Maybe that's exactly what both of them need," Williams replied, making a note on his evaluation sheet. "We'll see what she's made of." Maria reached the kennel area where 12 dogs waited in their individual runs. Some paced restlessly while others lay quietly, but Rex stood motionless in the corner of his enclosure, watching her approach with alert amber eyes. The blackened, tan shepherd showed no sign of excitement or aggression, just careful observation. His previous handler had described him as brilliant but stubborn, capable of detecting explosives from incredible distances but unwilling to work with handlers he didn't respect. The kennel assistant, Corporal Davis, unlocked Rex's gate while explaining the dog's recent behavior. "He's been eating well and following basic commands, but he's shown no enthusiasm during training exercises with the other candidates," Davis reported. "Yesterday he sat down in the middle of a detection drill and refused to continue. The handler got frustrated and tried to force him, which made things worse." Maria studied Rex's posture and expression, noting the slight tension in his shoulders and the way his ears remained forward but not relaxed. She recognized the signs of a dog who had learned to be cautious about human intentions. Rather than rushing to establish dominance or forcing interaction, she sat down on a nearby bench and simply waited. The instructors watched from a distance as minutes passed without any apparent progress. Several whispered comments questioned Maria's approach, suggesting she needed to assert control immediately to demonstrate leadership. Military working dogs required confident handlers who could direct them effectively in dangerous situations where hesitation could prove fatal. Rex continued observing Maria while she remained seated, occasionally glancing around the kennel area but always returning her attention to him. She noticed how his breathing stayed controlled and how his tail remained neutral rather than tucked or raised aggressively. These subtle indicators told her that Rex was processing her presence without feeling threatened or challenged. After 10 minutes, Rex moved closer to the front of his kennel, though he maintained careful distance. Maria spoke softly, using calm tones while avoiding direct eye contact that might be perceived as confrontational. She talked about her own experiences with dogs throughout her childhood, sharing stories about her family's rescue animals who had also required patience and understanding. The other candidates had finished their preparations and were heading to their assigned training areas with their canine partners. Maria could hear instructors calling out final reminders about safety protocols and evaluation criteria. The morning schedule was tight, with each team allotted specific time slots for their exercises. Any delays would reflect poorly on both handler and dog. Williams approached Maria's position, his expression showing mild impatience. "Santos, you need to get moving," he stated firmly. "The evaluation committee is ready to begin scoring your performance. Other teams are already starting their exercises." Maria stood slowly, still maintaining her relaxed demeanor around Rex. "I understand, Master Sergeant," she replied. "I just want to make sure Rex and I establish proper communication before we begin the exercise. Rushing this part could compromise our effectiveness during the actual evaluation." The comment drew skeptical looks from several instructors who had watched numerous candidates struggle with Rex's resistance to quick bonding. Most handlers attempted to establish dominance through firm commands and leash corrections, following traditional military dog training methods that emphasized immediate obedience and clear hierarchy. Rex watched the exchange between Maria and Williams with obvious interest, his ears swiveling between their voices while his posture remained alert but not defensive. When Maria extended her hand toward the kennel gate, palm up and moving slowly, Rex approached cautiously. He sniffed her fingers briefly before stepping back to his original position. "He's interested but still evaluating," Maria observed aloud, more to herself than to the watching instructors. "Rex has been hurt before, and he's learned to be careful about trusting new people. Forcing this partnership won't create the bond we need for effective teamwork in dangerous situations." Williams checked his watch and frowned. Other evaluation teams were already reporting to their starting positions, and the morning schedule was falling behind. The evaluation committee expected precise timing, and delays could reflect poorly on the entire training program. However, he also recognized that Maria's assessment of Rex's behavior showed sophisticated understanding of canine psychology. Davis unlocked Rex's kennel door while Maria attached the standard military working dog leash and collar. Rex allowed the equipment to be placed without resistance, though his body language remained somewhat reserved. When Maria began walking toward the training area, Rex followed willingly but maintained slight tension in the leash. The simulated compound consisted of multiple connected buildings designed to replicate Middle Eastern architecture commonly encountered during overseas deployments. Hidden throughout the structures were various training aids including mock explosive devices, weapons caches, and civilian actors playing different roles. Handlers and their dogs were required to systematically clear each room while maintaining safety protocols and identifying all threats. As they approached the starting line, Maria noticed Rex's demeanor beginning to change. His ears became more erect, his pace quickened slightly, and his nose started working more actively to process scents in the area. The transformation suggested that despite his initial reluctance, Rex recognized the training environment and was beginning to engage with the upcoming exercise. The evaluation committee consisted of 3 senior instructors positioned at various observation points around the compound. They would score Maria and Rex on multiple criteria including teamwork, detection accuracy, safety procedures, and tactical movement. A single major error could result in immediate failure, while minor mistakes would accumulate to affect their overall rating. Williams gave Maria final instructions while Rex continued scanning the area around them. "You have 45 minutes to clear the entire compound," he explained. "Identify all explosive devices and hostile targets while protecting civilian actors. Your dog's alerts must be clear and consistent. Any confusion about his signals could be dangerous in real combat situations." Maria knelt beside Rex and spoke quietly to him, explaining what they were about to do even though she knew he couldn't understand her words completely. Her tone and manner seemed to communicate confidence and partnership rather than dominance and control. Rex's ears swiveled toward her voice, and, for the first time since they met, his tail showed slight movement that wasn't purely neutral. The starting signal sounded, and Maria began moving toward the compound entrance with Rex at her side. Other teams could be heard working in distant sections of the training area, their progress marked by occasional shouts of clear or contact as they encountered various scenarios. The evaluation had officially begun, and Maria's future as a military working dog handler now depended on her ability to work effectively with a dog she had just met.
Rex's transformation became more apparent as they approached the first building.
His professional training and natural abilities overcame his personal reservations about working with a new handler. Years of experience in combat zones had taught him to compartmentalize his emotional responses when duty called. Maria recognized this shift and adjusted her own approach accordingly. The first room contained furniture typical of a Middle Eastern home, with multiple hiding places where explosive devices might be concealed. Maria directed Rex to begin his systematic search pattern while she maintained tactical positioning near the entrance. Her movements showed confidence despite the pressure of evaluation, and Rex responded to her calm energy by focusing intently on his detection work. Within minutes, Rex alerted to something hidden beneath a decorative rug in the corner of the room. His behavior showed the specific posture and focused attention that indicated explosive detection rather than general interest. Maria confirmed his alert and marked the location before moving to the next area, their partnership beginning to develop despite their brief acquaintance. The instructors exchanged glances as they observed Maria and Rex working together with increasing coordination. Their initial skepticism about the pairing was giving way to cautious optimism as both handler and dog demonstrated professional competence. However, the most challenging portions of the evaluation still lay ahead, and Rex's full cooperation remained uncertain. The second building presented more complex challenges as Maria and Rex moved through interconnected rooms filled with civilian actors. 3 instructors portraying local inhabitants sat around a low table, speaking in Arabic while carefully watching the dog team's approach. These actors were trained to behave naturally while testing the handler's ability to distinguish between genuine civilians and potential threats hiding among innocent people. Rex's nose worked constantly as they entered the room, processing multiple human scents along with traces of various materials that might indicate concealed weapons or explosives. His training had taught him to differentiate between normal household odors and the specific chemical signatures associated with dangerous materials. Maria watched his body language closely, learning to read the subtle differences in his alerts and behaviors. One of the civilian actors, a young woman wearing traditional Middle Eastern clothing, remained seated but showed nervous fidgeting that could indicate either normal anxiety around military personnel or knowledge of hidden threats. Rex approached her position methodically, his detection pattern thorough but non-threatening. The woman maintained eye contact with Maria while speaking softly in Arabic to her companions. "Easy boy," Maria whispered to Rex as his attention focused on an area near the woman's feet. His posture changed slightly, indicating interest but not the full alert behavior that would signal explosive detection. Maria made the decision to continue their search pattern rather than investigating further, trusting Rex's training to provide clear signals when genuine threats were present. The instructors observing from outside took note of Maria's restraint and trust in her canine partner. Many handlers, especially during high-pressure evaluations, tended to overreact to their dog's preliminary interest, leading to false alerts that could have serious consequences in real combat situations. The ability to distinguish between casual interest and genuine detection was crucial for effective partnerships. Moving to the next room, Rex immediately became more animated as his nose detected something significant. His ears shot forward, his pace quickened, and his entire body language shifted to the focused intensity that marked a positive alert. Maria recognized the change and began moving more cautiously while maintaining tactical awareness of potential threats around them. Hidden beneath a pile of children's toys in the corner, Rex located a mock explosive device designed to test detection abilities under challenging circumstances. The placement among innocent items represented the type of concealment tactics commonly used by insurgent groups attempting to avoid detection. Rex's alert was unmistakable as he sat directly beside the target and looked back at Maria for confirmation and reward. "Good boy, Rex," Maria said quietly while marking the location and preparing to move forward. She produced a small tennis ball from her equipment belt and allowed Rex a brief play session as reward for his successful detection. The positive reinforcement helped strengthen their working relationship while maintaining Rex's enthusiasm for the challenging tasks ahead. Master Sergeant Williams observed the interaction while making notes on his evaluation sheet. Rex's willingness to work for Maria's praise and rewards indicated developing trust between the pair, despite their limited time together.
The dog's previous reluctance to bond with new handlers made this progress particularly noteworthy and suggested that Maria possessed intuitive understanding of canine psychology. The third room contained a more complex scenario involving multiple civilian actors and a concealed hostile target.
An instructor wearing civilian clothes sat among the group while carrying a concealed training weapon designed to test the dog's ability to detect firearms and the handler's tactical awareness. The scenario required careful navigation to avoid treating innocent people as threats while maintaining security. Rex entered the room with confident purpose, his detection skills now fully engaged as he systematically worked through the space. His nose led him past several civilian actors without significant interest before focusing on the concealed hostile target. The instructor playing the threat role remained motionless while Rex's behavior shifted to indicate weapon detection. Maria recognized Rex's alert pattern and began tactical positioning while keeping her training weapon ready. The scenario required her to neutralize the threat without endangering civilian actors or compromising Rex's safety. Her movements showed training and confidence as she directed Rex to maintain safe distance while she addressed the simulated hostile target.
Contact, armed subject.
Maria called out loudly enough for the evaluation committee to hear while moving to secure the concealed weapon. The civilian actors remained in their positions as trained while the hostile target complied with surrender commands. Rex maintained alert positioning until Maria gave the command to stand down, showing his understanding of tactical situations.
The successful completion of the complex scenario drew approving nods from the observing instructors.
The coordination between Maria and Rex had improved dramatically since their tentative beginning, with both demonstrating professional competence under pressure.
However, the most challenging portion of the evaluation still awaited them in the final building.
As they moved toward the last structure, Rex's behavior showed confidence and eagerness that contrasted sharply with his initial reluctance. The successful detections and positive interactions with Maria had apparently convinced him that this new partnership offered potential for effective teamwork. His tail showed more movement, and his overall posture appeared more relaxed despite the intensity of their work. The final building contained the evaluation's most difficult challenges, including multiple hidden explosive devices, complex room layouts, and time pressure that tested both handler and dog under maximum stress. Maria checked her equipment and took a deep breath before beginning this crucial phase of their assessment. Inside the first room of the final building, Rex immediately became agitated in a way that differed from his previous detection alerts. His ears flattened slightly, and his body language showed stress rather than focused detection behavior. Maria recognized that something in the environment was triggering negative reactions based on Rex's previous combat experiences. The room contained realistic combat debris including damaged furniture, scattered papers, and scorch marks on walls that simulated the aftermath of explosive events.
For Rex, these visual and olfactory cues apparently triggered memories of traumatic experiences during his previous deployment.
His breathing became more rapid, and he began showing reluctance to enter deeper into the space. Maria immediately recognized the signs of stress response and made the decision to pause their forward movement. Rather than forcing Rex to continue despite his obvious discomfort, she knelt beside him and spoke in calm, reassuring tones while allowing him time to process the challenging environment. Her decision surprised the watching instructors who expected handlers to push through difficulties during evaluations.
"It's okay, Rex," Maria said softly while maintaining calm body language herself. "Take your time, buddy. We'll work through this together."
Her approach prioritized their partnership over the pressure of evaluation timing, recognizing that Rex's well-being was more important than perfect scores on training exercises.
The minutes ticked by as other evaluation teams completed their exercises and reported their results.
Maria remained patient with Rex while he gradually adjusted to the stressful environment, his training and natural resilience slowly overcoming his initial reaction to the traumatic reminders. The evaluation committee watched with interest as this unconventional approach unfolded.
Gradually, Rex's professional training reasserted itself over his emotional responses.
His breathing returned to normal patterns, and his focus shifted back to detection work rather than stress management. When Maria began moving forward again, Rex followed with renewed purpose, apparently having worked through his initial difficulties with the challenging environment. The remaining rooms in the final building contained multiple explosive devices hidden in increasingly sophisticated locations. Rex's detection abilities proved exceptional as he located devices concealed in walls, furniture, and even suspended from ceiling fixtures. His alerts were clear and consistent, showing the high level of training that had made him valuable despite his interpersonal challenges. Maria's handling showed growing confidence as she learned to read Rex's behavioral cues and respond appropriately to different types of alerts. Their communication was becoming more intuitive, with subtle signals replacing the obvious commands typically required between unfamiliar partners. The partnership was developing the type of seamless coordination that characterized the most effective military working dog teams. The final challenge involved a room containing multiple civilian actors, concealed threats, and explosive devices requiring precise coordination to clear safely. Rex demonstrated remarkable focus as he distinguished between different types of detection while Maria maintained tactical control of the complex situation. Their teamwork had evolved dramatically from the hesitant beginning of their evaluation. When they emerged from the final building, both Maria and Rex showed signs of exhaustion but also satisfaction with their performance. Rex's tail wagged freely for the first time since they met, and his entire demeanor showed the relaxed confidence of a dog who had found a handler worthy of his trust and abilities. Maria smiled broadly while praising her canine partner for his exceptional work. The evaluation committee gathered to discuss scoring while Maria and Rex waited in the designated area. Other handler dog teams had completed their exercises with varying degrees of success, but none had overcome the type of initial challenges that Maria and Rex faced together. Their transformation from mutual wariness to effective partnership represented exactly the type of development that military working dog programs sought to achieve. Master Sergeant Williams approached Maria and Rex with his evaluation clipboard, his expression unreadable after 30 minutes of deliberation with the assessment committee. The other candidates had been dismissed to clean their equipment and debrief with their assigned instructors, leaving Maria alone with Rex to await the final verdict on their performance and future partnership. Rex remained close to Maria's side, no longer showing the cautious distance that had characterized their initial meeting. His posture was relaxed but alert, occasionally looking up at his new handler with what appeared to be genuine affection. The transformation seemed remarkable to everyone who had witnessed his previous reluctance to bond with handlers since returning from Afghanistan. "Santos, your performance today showed both strengths and areas requiring development," Williams began in his characteristic formal tone. Rex located all 6 explosive devices correctly with no false alerts. "Your tactical movement was solid, and you maintained proper safety protocols throughout the exercise. However, your approach differed significantly from standard military working dog handling procedures." Maria nodded respectfully while maintaining eye contact with the senior instructor. She had expected criticism for taking extra time to establish rapport with Rex rather than asserting immediate dominance according to traditional training methods. Military programs emphasized efficiency and standardized procedures that produced predictable results across different handler-dog combinations. "Your decision to pause during the final building exercise was particularly noteworthy," Williams continued. "Most handlers would have forced their dogs to continue despite obvious stress responses. Your choice to prioritize Rex's psychological well-being over evaluation timing demonstrated understanding of canine behavior that goes beyond basic training requirements." The comments surprised Maria, who had expected negative feedback for deviating from expected procedures during a high-stakes evaluation. Williams' tone suggested approval rather than criticism, though his expression remained neutral as he reviewed additional notes from the assessment committee. "The committee spent considerable time discussing your partnership potential," Williams explained. "Rex has worked with 12 different handlers since returning from overseas deployment. None established the type of working relationship you two developed in less than 3 hours. That level of communication typically requires weeks or months of consistent training together." Rex's ears perked up at the sound of his name while he continued monitoring the conversation between Maria and Williams. His behavior showed none of the tension or wariness that had marked previous interactions with authority figures around the kennel area. The change in his demeanor provided clear evidence of his acceptance of Maria as a trusted partner. Sergeant First Class Johnson joined the group, carrying additional documentation from Rex's previous training records and deployment history. His expression showed cautious optimism as he prepared to share background information that would help Maria understand her new partner's experiences and behavioral patterns. Rex served 18 months in Afghanistan with Staff Sergeant Martinez before an IED explosion injured his handler and sent both of them back stateside, Johnson explained. Martinez recovered from his physical injuries but requested transfer to a non-deployment position. Rex showed signs of separation anxiety and has been reluctant to trust new handlers since losing that primary relationship. The information helped explain Rex's initial behavior and his remarkable response to Maria's patient approach. Dogs who had experienced trauma often required specialized handling that prioritized emotional healing alongside continued professional development. Military working dog programs were beginning to recognize the importance of addressing psychological needs rather than simply maintaining training standards. Williams consulted his notes before delivering the evaluation committee's decision. "Your partnership with Rex is approved for advanced training leading to deployment certification," he announced. "You'll begin intensive preparation next Monday for overseas assignment. The program duration is 8 weeks, followed by final assessment and team certification." Maria felt relief and excitement wash over her as the realization hit that she had passed the crucial evaluation. More importantly, Rex would be her permanent partner rather than simply a training assignment. The prospect of deploying together represented the culmination of her long journey toward becoming a military working dog handler. Rex seemed to sense the positive energy in the conversation, his tail wagging more freely while he looked between Maria and the instructors. Dogs possessed remarkable ability to read human emotions and body language, often understanding outcomes before verbal explanations made situations clear to other people nearby. Advanced training will focus on combat zone procedures, helicopter insertion techniques, and specialized detection work, Johnson continued. "You'll also receive additional education about canine psychology and trauma response, given Rex's history. The program wants handlers who can maintain their dog's emotional well-being alongside operational effectiveness." The next 8 weeks would test Maria and Rex's partnership under increasingly realistic conditions designed to prepare them for actual deployment challenges. Training scenarios would include live-fire exercises, explosive environments, and high-stress situations that push both handler and dog beyond their comfort zones while building unshakable trust and communication. Williams dismissed Maria with instructions to report to the advanced training facility early Monday morning with Rex and all required equipment. The weekend would provide time for them to continue developing their relationship outside the pressure of formal evaluation and structured exercises. As they walked back toward the kennel area, Maria reflected on the morning's unexpected developments. Her career had nearly ended before it truly began, saved only by her willingness to trust her instincts about canine behavior rather than following rigid procedures. Rex had given her a chance to prove herself worthy of his partnership, and she had apparently met his standards. Rex's behavior continued showing positive changes as they approached his familiar living area. Instead of the resignation that had marked his return to the kennels after previous training sessions, he showed alertness and interest in continued interaction with Maria. His tail remained high, and he frequently looked up at her as if seeking confirmation that their partnership would continue. Other handlers and staff members noticed Rex's transformation as Maria led him through the facility. Several made comments about his improved demeanor and obvious contentment with his new partner. The change was particularly striking to personnel who had worked with Rex during his difficult adjustment period following his return from overseas. Corporal Davis approached as Maria settled Rex back into his kennel with fresh water and food rewards for his exceptional performance during evaluation. "I've never seen him this relaxed with a new handler," Davis observed. "Usually he goes straight to the back corner and stays there until the next training session. Today he seems happy to be here." Maria spent additional time with Rex, playing fetch and practicing basic commands to reinforce their developing communication patterns. His responses were enthusiastic and focused, showing none of the reluctant compliance that had characterized his interactions with previous handlers. The foundation for successful partnership was clearly established. As evening approached, Maria prepared to leave Rex for the night with mixed feelings about their separation. They had spent only one day together, but the bond that developed felt strong and meaningful. Rex watched her departure with alert interest rather than the anxiety that often affected dogs when separated from new handlers. The weekend passed quickly as Maria prepared for advanced training by reviewing technical manuals, organizing her equipment, and studying Rex's complete service record and medical history. Understanding his background would help her provide the specialized care and handling that his unique situation required. Sunday evening found Maria back at the kennel facility, visiting Rex and reinforcing their partnership before beginning the intensive training program. His greeting was enthusiastic and affectionate, confirming that their bond had strengthened rather than weakened during their brief separation. Monday morning arrived with clear skies and cool temperatures perfect for outdoor training exercises. Maria arrived early to prepare Rex for their first day of advanced preparation, feeling confident about their partnership but uncertain about the challenges that lay ahead. The next 8 weeks would determine whether they possessed the skills and teamwork necessary for combat deployment. Rex emerged from his kennel with obvious excitement, his entire body language showing eagerness for the day's activities. The transformation from the wary, reluctant dog Maria had first encountered seemed complete, replaced by a confident working animal ready to tackle whatever missions awaited them together. The advanced training facility occupied a larger area with more sophisticated equipment and realistic combat simulations. Multiple handler dog teams would train together, creating competitive atmosphere while building the camaraderie necessary for effective unit operations. Maria and Rex would need to prove themselves not just as an individual partnership but as valuable members of a larger team. Instructor staff at the advanced facility had reviewed the evaluation reports and were expecting Maria and Rex to arrive with established working relationship and proven abilities. Their reputation from the previous week's exceptional performance created both opportunities and pressure as they prepared to begin this crucial phase of preparation. Williams appeared at the advanced training facility to observe the beginning of Maria and Rex's intensive program. His presence indicated continued interest in their development and confidence in their potential for successful deployment. The investment of senior instructor time suggested that their partnership was considered particularly promising. Rex's behavior around the new facility showed curiosity and alertness rather than stress or reluctance. His positive associations with training environments had apparently been restored through his successful work with Maria, replacing the negative reactions that had troubled him since returning from Afghanistan. As they reported to their assigned instructor for initial briefing, Maria felt ready for whatever challenges awaited them. Rex stayed close beside her, his confidence and trust providing the foundation for everything they would accomplish together in the weeks ahead and during their eventual deployment to combat zones where their skills would face ultimate testing. 6 months after their first meeting, Sergeant Maria Santos and Rex found themselves in Afghanistan, serving with the 82nd Airborne Division at Forward Operating Base Chapman. The advanced training program had transformed their partnership into the seamless coordination that characterized elite military working dog teams. Rex's confidence had grown alongside Maria's skills, creating a bond that impressed veteran handlers throughout their unit. Their deployment began with routine patrols around the base perimeter, allowing them to acclimate to the desert environment while demonstrating their abilities to skeptical infantry soldiers who questioned the value of canine teams. Rex adapted quickly to the heat and terrain, his detection abilities proving invaluable in identifying improvised explosive devices that threatened convoy routes and foot patrols. Captain Morrison, the company commander, initially expressed doubts about accepting a handler dog team with limited experience in combat zones. However, Rex's success rate in locating hidden explosives quickly changed his perspective. Within 2 weeks, Maria and Rex had identified 12 IEDs along supply routes, potentially saving dozens of lives and multiple vehicles from destruction. The soldiers in their assigned platoon gradually recognized Rex's exceptional abilities and began requesting their team for dangerous missions requiring explosive detection. Rex seemed to understand the life-or-death importance of his work, approaching each assignment with intense focus that reminded everyone of his previous combat experience with Staff Sergeant Martinez. Maria learned to read the subtle environmental cues that affected Rex's performance, adjusting their work patterns according to weather conditions, terrain features, and tactical situations. Desert winds could interfere with scent detection, while rocky terrain required modified search patterns that maximized Rex's effectiveness in challenging landscape. Their first major test came during a village clearing operation designed to identify weapons caches and explosive materials hidden among civilian buildings. Rex demonstrated remarkable ability to distinguish between innocent household chemicals and genuine threats, his alerts clear and consistent despite the complex scent environment created by cooking fires, livestock, and normal human activity. Local children gathered to watch Rex work, their curiosity overcoming initial fear of military operations in their community. Maria allowed brief interactions between Rex and the children, recognizing that positive contact helped build trust with villagers while providing Rex with the social stimulation that maintained his emotional well-being during deployment. The mission's success led to requests for Maria and Rex's participation in increasingly complex operations throughout their area of responsibility. Rex located weapons caches concealed in irrigation systems, explosive devices hidden in market areas, and ammunition stockpiles buried beneath residential courtyards. His detection accuracy approached 100%, establishing their team's reputation for reliability. However, the demanding operational tempo began affecting Rex's behavior in ways that concerned Maria. His sleep patterns became irregular, and he showed increased startle responses to loud noises that reminded him of previous traumatic experiences. Maria recognized early signs of stress and implemented the psychological care techniques learned during advanced training. Daily play sessions and positive reinforcement activities helped Rex maintain emotional balance despite the constant pressure of dangerous missions. Maria ensured he received proper nutrition, medical care, and mental stimulation beyond their operational duties. The investment in Rex's well-being paid dividends in sustained performance throughout their demanding deployment schedule. 3 months into deployment, their unit received intelligence about a major explosive device threatening a critical supply convoy. Traditional detection methods had failed to locate the device despite extensive searches by multiple teams. Rex's exceptional abilities made him the logical choice for this high-stakes mission where failure could result in catastrophic casualties. The search area covered several miles of rough terrain along the convoy route, with thousands of potential hiding places for explosive devices. Rex worked systematically through the area while Maria coordinated with infantry soldiers providing security. The pressure was intense, as the convoy could not proceed until the threat was neutralized or determined to be false intelligence. Hours passed without success as Rex covered rocky outcroppings, abandoned structures, and vegetation that could conceal dangerous materials. His persistence never wavered despite the challenging conditions and time pressure. Maria maintained confidence in her partner's abilities while managing her own stress about the critical mission's outcome. Finally, Rex alerted to something unusual near a seemingly innocent pile of stones beside the road. His behavior showed the unmistakable signs of explosive detection that Maria had learned to recognize and trust completely. The alert location appeared unremarkable to human observers, but Rex's training and natural abilities had identified threats that escaped visual inspection. Explosive ordnance disposal specialists confirmed Rex's detection, locating a sophisticated device capable of destroying entire convoys and killing everyone within a 100-meter radius. The explosive was expertly camouflaged and would have been virtually impossible to detect without canine assistance. Rex's alert potentially saved dozens of lives while keeping critical supply lines operational. The successful mission earned Rex recognition from higher headquarters and enhanced their team's reputation throughout the brigade. However, Maria noticed that the stress of the high-stakes operation had affected Rex more than usual. He showed increased clinginess and reluctance to sleep alone, signs that reminded her of his initial trauma responses. Maria spent extra time with Rex during their rest periods, providing the emotional support that helped him process the stress of dangerous missions. Her care and attention reinforced their bond while ensuring that Rex maintained the psychological resilience necessary for continued effectiveness in combat zones. As their deployment approached its conclusion, Maria reflected on the remarkable journey that had brought them together and carried them through 6 months of successful operations. Rex had evolved from a traumatized dog reluctant to trust new handlers into a confident, capable working animal whose abilities had saved countless lives. Their final mission involved clearing a complex of buildings suspected of housing insurgent leadership and weapons storage. Rex's detection work helped identify multiple explosive booby traps and concealed weapons caches that could have turned the operation into a deadly ambush.
His contributions were instrumental in the mission's successful completion without casualties. The flight home marked the end of their deployment but the beginning of their continued service together. Rex showed obvious relief at leaving the stress of combat operations while maintaining his enthusiasm for training and preparation activities. His resilience and adaptability continued to impress everyone who worked with their team. Back at their home station, Maria and Rex transitioned to training roles, sharing their combat experience with new handler dog teams preparing for deployment. Rex seemed to enjoy working with inexperienced dogs, his patient demeanor helping nervous animals develop confidence and skills. Maria's expertise in canine psychology, developed through her relationship with Rex, made her valuable as an instructor specializing in trauma recovery and partnership development. She helped other handlers understand the importance of emotional care alongside technical training, lessons learned through her experience with Rex's recovery. Their story became part of military working dog program folklore, illustrating how patience, understanding, and genuine partnership could overcome initial challenges to create exceptional teams. Rex's transformation from reluctant, traumatized dog to confident, life-saving hero inspired other handlers facing similar situations with their canine partners. Rex adapted well to retirement activities while maintaining his connection to Maria and continued involvement in training programs. His legacy extended beyond his individual service to include the handlers he helped train and the lives saved through improved understanding of canine psychology and trauma recovery. Years later, Maria would still smile when remembering their first meeting and the instructor's skepticism about her unconventional approach to building partnership with a difficult dog. Rex had taught her that sometimes the most challenging relationships produced the strongest bonds and most remarkable achievements. Their partnership demonstrated that military effectiveness could be enhanced rather than compromised by prioritizing emotional well-being and genuine care for working animals. The lessons learned through their relationship influenced military working dog programs for years, improving outcomes for both handlers and their canine partners. Rex lived out his retirement years with Maria's family, his service days behind him, but his impact on military working dog programs continuing through improved training methods and handler education. His story remained an inspiration to new generations of handlers learning to build partnerships with their canine teammates. The transformation that began with Maria's patient smile at a growling, reluctant pup had ultimately saved dozens of lives and influenced military working dog programs worldwide. Sometimes the greatest victories started with simple acts of understanding and compassion that opened doors to remarkable achievements neither human nor dog could have accomplished alone.